Well, I'm talking today to Caroline Davey, Chief Exec of Bliss Charity. Fantastic to have you here. Thanks so much, Caroline. I just find it's really rare to hear from Chief Execs about what it's really like to manage their people. So thank you very, very much. If you just want to briefly introduce yourself, and then I can ask you the first question, which is, what would you say is the one most valuable thing that you do to help your people to shine in their work?
Okay, great starting question, and thanks for having me. My name is Caroline Davey. I'm the Chief Executive of Bliss, with the National Charity for Babies Born Premature or Sick. And in terms of, I think, the one most valuable thing I can do for my team, I think it's about setting a really clear strategy and direction for them so that everyone has that real clarity around what we're here to do, and they can then deploy all their skills and talents to actually delivering on that. We went through a big strategy development process at Bliss last year and kicked off our new 3-year strategy in April this year. And that strategy has at its heart a very clear mission to reach all 90,000 babies born premature or sick each year who are admitted to neonatal care that we are here to serve. And I think the real clarity that we've brought through that strategy is that babies are our beneficiaries, that everything we do is about improving outcomes for babies. And I think having that clarity through the work that we do to support parents, the work that we do to support neonatal professionals, through our campaigning and through our research, gives all of the team that real focus around what they're there to do, the outcomes that they're there to deliver, the measures that they're there to monitor, to check that. And also I think the other thing about having that clarity of purpose and clarity of focus, it really helps the teams work together. So they might be doing, individual staff will be doing quite different jobs, but they know they have a really clear shared endeavour. And I think that really helps with cross-team working and ensuring that different parts of the organisation are all pulling in the same direction. So hopefully that's what I have brought and can bring, and then, freeing up the team to go on and deliver that.
Brilliant. Absolutely vital, isn't it? If you don't know where you're going, you absolutely can't get there. So, yeah, totally. Brilliant. So my next question, which I'm asking to all my chief execs I'm talking to, is what would you say is the biggest challenge facing your people right now? And how are you helping them to rise to that challenge?
Well, I think in many ways that biggest challenge for our team relates to our strategy. So we have a 3-year strategy that we launched in April. It's a really ambitious strategy to say we want to reach every single one of those babies, their families, the professionals that work with them. And we're quite a small organisation, relatively speaking. We like to think we punch above our weight. And our team are really ambitious to deliver on that promise to reach all of those babies. And I think the challenge in that then is the balance between the ambition to deliver that and get there now, and the reality around the resources and the capacity that we have at this point to do that, and the kind of distance we have to travel to get there. So I think my job in that is really helping people to understand it's a 3-year strategy. It's one of the things I said most often when we were launching the strategy is we're ambitious, we're definitely going to get there, but it will take us 3 years to get there. So if you like, to kind of harness the enthusiasm and the passion that the team have really to drive towards that goal and be ambitious and do as much as we can, but also bring that reality to them around here's the resources and the capacity we have at the moment. We're pushing in fundraising to grow and deliver more of those resources so that we can deliver, but also letting people know that it's okay that we're not reaching the full limits of our strategy in year one, and actually we shouldn't do because it's a 3-year strategy for a reason. And I think it's bringing that balance so that people don't burn themselves out, people aren't killing themselves to do it all, but about saying we will get there, but we need to plan and get there in a measured way rather than trying to race to do it all badly overnight.
Yeah, so sensible. I love that idea of recognising in your strategy that we don't want burnout. We're not trying to kill ourselves in the process. I mean, it's really good to hear that from someone in your position saying that. So my third question to you is around how do you balance the leader's need to think big, to think strategic, with the day-to-day demands of office life. I mean, I've been in your office many times. Your office is like right there, and the door's open, anyone can drop in. You know, how do you handle that tension between those two things?
I mean, it is a juggling act. You're absolutely right. My office, very deliberately, completely glass walls into the office and open door all the time, apart from when I'm doing something like this. And I actively encourage everyone to drop in if they've got a question or something they want to pick my brains on. And some days I can have a whole piece of work planned, and I don't do any of it because people are dropping in and out and emails are popping in. Other days, actually, today is a Friday. It's quite quiet in the office on a Friday. Typically here we have a really positive approach to flexible working, so it's often the day that if people have a day a week from home, it's often the day that people work from home. If people are on 4 days, it's often the day they're not in. So actually Fridays is generally a nice quiet day for me to catch up. I also try to make use of the time that I have out of the office. So I get out and about around the country a reasonable amount, visiting neonatal units, going to conferences or other events. And I really find trains a good opportunity to do thinking. I try very hard not to take a laptop with me when I'm out of the office. I've always got my phone, I can check emails, but actually I try not to be typing or doing kind of lots of active work. I think that's a really good opportunity for me to do some thinking. And actually often if I've been out of the office, I've been to a unit to visit and chat to professionals and parents about their experiences. The journey home and letting that filter in and giving that different perspective is often the best time for me to do some of that thinking when I'm not here, when I can't be interrupted. So I try to make as much of that as I can. I think there's also something really practical about building in that time, particularly with my senior management team and with our trustees. So in the last month we've had an away day with our trustees and away day just as a senior management team, there's 4 of us. And I think there is a bit of structure that comes with building time for some of that strategic thinking, which is just about getting dates in the diaries ahead of time and making sure you stick to them. So for me it's that balance between what are the structured points in the year where we just build that in and block the time out, what are the kind of opportunities I have on a weekly basis when it's a bit quieter in the office to catch up and do a bit of thinking, and then how do I make best use of my time when I'm out of the office to ensure that I'm not, constantly switched on to emails or kind of day-to-day work, and saying actually I need to give myself a bit of time to think.
There's a real theme running through the answers to that question, that the train seems to be enormously important to nearly all the chief execs I've spoken to. Someone was talking about how she goes in the train and listens to the Archers, and just having the space of something different, not trying to do anything particular, just having that space on the train is helps her to have ideas. It seems to be the way. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you've already talked a little bit about how you balance things. So I suppose my next question is, do you have a work-life balance? And if you have one, have you got any tips or suggestions for other people, things that really work for you that you think people watching this might be interested in hearing about?
I like to think I do have a work-life balance, actually. I think it's very important. I really do. I don't think I am ever at my best if I'm burnt out and kind of run ragged and doing really extended hours. I am a big believer in exercise, which works for me. I train twice a week. I've been doing, which people always laugh at me here about, I've been training in Kung Fu for nearly 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Which I absolutely love and is a complete release. And I train twice a week, and it's the kind of exercise, as you might imagine, where you can't concentrate on anything other than what you're doing, or you might get hurt. So actually I've always found that a really brilliant release. I know people who run say something similar about just having that focus on something quite different just really helps you relax physically as well as mentally. So I'm quite religious about keeping that in my diary and not skipping it if at all possible. I do reasonable days, I think. I'm in the office about 8:30. I think having a little bit of quieter time before it gets really busy is quite useful to kind of plan the day ahead. And I'm rarely here beyond about 6:30, which I think is not unreasonable, sometimes earlier. And I think I make sure I build in other activities outside of work, whether that's catching up with friends for dinner or going to the theatre. And actually sometimes having that in the diary means I have to leave because I'm meeting someone, at 6 o'clock in town. So for me, that's quite a decent balance. And actually, one of the things that is a real positive is that I don't feel like I work at weekends really at all, unless there is something desperately urgent, a media story that's breaking.
Wow,
which is
good for you.
Not so, yeah, I mean, as we were talking before about some of the strategic thinking time, the brain is always ticking away, and there might be quiet moments on a Sunday morning where you're just churning through something, but I don't really see that as work. That's just my brain whirring away. But in terms of kind of hands-on and doing emails and writing documents, actually I steer clear of weekends as much as I can. I'd rather do full days in the office, concentrate, get it done, and then have that time and space for the kind of mind and body to recover. So I think for me, carving out, it's going to sound very obvious, but work as a workspace, I very, very rarely work from home. For me, that doesn't work, actually. I would rather be really clear that I'm in the office and I'm working hard. And actually, when I leave the office behind.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that doesn't work for you, because for some people that really does work, and that's what they need. And I'm aware that Bliss is encouraging if people want to work at home.
I'm probably one of the few that doesn't, actually, and they are very positive about it. And I know any of the team come in and say, I need a day at home just to concentrate on this project or to get this report done. I'm all in favour of it. I know it makes a huge difference, but actually and I think there is something, again, about being self-aware about what works for you, and all members of the team, leaders no exception, need to know actually what works for you. Is it being in the office? Is it being at home? What's the balance? Is it early? Is it late? And making sure you then stick to that.
Yeah, and I love that you're modelling a sensible work-life balance. You're modelling coming in at a reasonable time, leaving at a reasonable time. I think that is just so important for to set an example to people that you work with, and to give them permission to do that as well. I think that's incredibly important. Very hard for people if they see their chief exec, working really long hours, burning themselves out. It's not a good model, is it? Yeah.
Exactly. I've worked at places before where, you're getting emails that are sent at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, or, Saturday lunchtime, and you're right, it doesn't sit well, I think, with encouraging other people to work flexibly and have a work-life balance. I think, as you say, you need to live it and demonstrate it, and then people see, actually, I can do my job and have a life, and that's okay.
Great. So what is the best, nicest thing about being chief exec of Bliss?
Oh, just picking one is hard. If I was to distill it down, it's probably the conversations I have with parents or professionals or policymakers, where I hear the kind of fruits of our labours, if you will, where I speak to a parent who says, I read your information, or I spoke to one of your volunteers and it really made a difference in how I was caring for my baby. I speak to a professional who says, the work we did on a training course or going through one of our kind of professional development programs really changed my practice and helped me deliver my work better. Or speaking to policymakers who say, well, that report from Bliss or the media work you did around that campaign really influenced our thinking. And I think it's that, it always sounds very trite, I think, to work in a charity to say you're there to make a difference, but we are all here to make a difference. And I think it's great to work in an organisation where we have such a clear and important mission, and I've got a team of people working with me who are so passionate about delivering that. And so it's then those opportunities and moments I have where I see those outcomes in practice and I see the difference we've made is amazing. It's amazing to kind of validate what we're doing, why we're doing it, and that we are making a difference. And actually what's then even nicer is to come back to the office and speak to whoever it is in the relevant team, say, I just spoke to someone who loves the information that you produced. And that's lovely to be able to report back. Obviously we do any number of bits of kind of more comprehensive and systematic monitoring and evaluation. That's vitally important, that we can demonstrate our impact systematically. But it is sometimes those one-off conversations where you can speak to someone and say, I spoke to a parent and they said it completely made a difference, and that's down to you. And that's a great thing to bring back to the office and a great motivator for the team as well.
That sounds lovely. How nice. What a lovely job you have, Caroline. Thank you so much. Really, really interesting and good to talk to you and to hear the energy and buzz and excitement that you have around your work. So thank you so much, and good luck with everything.
Thank you very much. Good to talk to you.
Bye.